back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another week here of the KSL, the Korean StarCraft League, your weekly dose of Korean StarCraft. I'm of course just VIP, with me and joined by these amazing players, by the ByuN chat and by the plushies as well. Welcome one and all to our initial matchup here. Exclamation mark, be in the chat to have a look at the bracket yourselves. The bracket is live, the bracket is stacked, and we are jumping into our first best of 3 TVP. As spawning in the bottom right hand side of Lost Fantasy, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Shopify. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom, on the left hand side of Lost Fantasy, we have the American Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss. It is Estrella. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Let's go. Best of luck in the chat. It is Gamba time. We have our first series, our first best of 3. Again, check out the bracket yourself. Check out the bracket yourselves, as the bracket is live, and we have other matches ongoing. Check out the other streams. Chicken Man is casting in English, so is Dave Testa. So we got Chicken Man, we got Dave Testa casting in English, and I believe Inu is also casting in South Korean as well. So you can check out some of the other streams, as for the time being we have our initial series, and the videos are crazy because we almost never get to experience Lost Fantasy. Here we go. Lost Fantasy, of course, being the one and only 3-player spawn map, because of that, often vetoed. It is the most vetoed map of the map pool. We rarely get to see any maps on it. But here we have a treat. We have a treat in store. Let's go, but let's go. For the time being, we have a CC first opener here. Crazy build, by the way. Not even Rax expand. CC first by ByuN up in the high ground. The reasoning for this is so whenever there's a worker scout here, it won't see the command center. Won't quite be able to see it. We do see a Estrella scout on the top side. He will try and check the natural base, go further into the main to confirm. He will see that ByuN is nowhere to be found. Now he knows that ByuN is right side. He's now aware of ByuN's location. ByuN, he will go away with the greed with that CC first. Behind it, going CC first into double gas to catch back up. Getting into his own Rax into factory follow-up. But again, a very greedy start does mean the gases are more delayed. The factory is going to be more delayed as well. Going to be a less of an assertive start for ByuN. Meanwhile, Estrella just going for a standard opener himself. Gate expanded to Cybercore. Getting to a second choice, going for a Twilight Council and keeping his probe further back here. Okay, my eyes are on this worker. You have my attention, Estrella. Have my attention. Twilight Council most likely into Blink. There are some niche builds where you can rush into Charge. True. There are some niche builds that you can go for, and we'll see if Estrella does go for such a thing. We'll see if he does set up a proxy location as well. See if he sets up the proxy. For now, the Adeptor will be shading up the ramp, and no Sim City, which means the Adeptor can just go straight in. It goes straight into the main base. The SCVs are going to be under fire. Does come from the CC's already done. And the boys, oh, they come in for the surround. He gets the surround, and he does not lose a single SCV. Very nice handling of the situation here. Very nice defense out of ByuN. Okay. Whew. So far, so good. ByuN, he defends well. Behind this, they're going for his tech lab on the factory, going for a Cyclone-based opener. Does open Cyclone, very safe. And meanwhile, Estrella sets up that pylon. Remember, we said earlier we were paying attention to this probe. So far, we have the pylon on the way, leading into a gateway, I would imagine. We do have 2 gates back at home. Did I say 2? 3 gates back at home. He might go for a 4th gateway across the map. Are we going for 4-gate Blink? We are. Okay, let's go. He's doubling down. So 4-gate Blink Stalker, hyper aggression here at Estrella. Very aggressive, and without any safety bunkers, without any safety tanks, this position is going to be that much more vulnerable. And ByuN, he's going to be in a bit of trouble here, as he has no scouting. ByuN has no scouting. He has no idea as to what's going on. Yeah, true, he doesn't know where he is. I did forget about that. But ByuN did not SCV scout, so ByuN going for a much delayed scout here, going for his drop towards the top side. And he will confirm that Estrella is nowhere to be found. There we go. So the drop aggression is going to be delayed. And the gateways are soon to finish up. Estrella soon to commit. Out across the map. This also means that he doesn't really have much of him to defend. He will have a warp in available. There we go. He warps him back at home. He runs into the army. Oh no, the move command! Oh no! The move command. There we go. He does respond, but the medevac does get away. Ay, ay, ay. If he had reacted a little bit faster, he could have killed that medevac. Not like this. Not like this. That's going to be 3 probes going down. Meanwhile, the Stray, he blinks into the main. Blinks in. Ooh, tank is in position. Tanks are in position. We got 2 tanks in the main base. The natural is vulnerable. We can skirt around the edge. We can get behind the gas geysers. So Straya, where do we go? Where do we head? Where are we going? Oh, true. I don't think. There we go. My apologies. Oh yeah. For a moment, I didn't think that I opened up predictions, but have been opened up. We're good to go. Dives on in. Yeah, straight. He dives behind the gas guys, as we mentioned. Is safe here. Is out of range of the tanks. Is out of range. Tank does reposition. Tank flow is going up. Ooh, it's a lot of tank shots. And so far, 4 SCV kills. Australia going for the ninja. Okay, going for the ninja expansion. Let's go. Let's go for the ninja base. Once again, diving into the main and going for the tank. But alas, another tank will punish. Ooh, Australia losing too much. Losing a lot of stalkers here. Takes down the tanks, takes down the Liberator. Another tank does pop out. And Australia is forced out of the bases. How many losses here? 11 stalkers going down. It's a lot of losses for Australia. And we'll see if he can get away with it. Can he establish his 3rd base? Can he build up a stalker army? The pressure is on Australia. She's going once again, going for the dive. Gets a tank. 1 more volley. He does 2 shots. 2 shots a tank. Ooh, snipes the medevac. ByuN, he will defend. Now, with the tank count getting lower and lower, what this really means is that ByuN, he'll have a weaker counterattack. ByuN, he's lost how many tanks so far? 3. 3 tanks and a Liberator, which means he has that much less to break out across the map, that much less to apply pressure, and that means Australia has more breathing room. He has more room to breathe. He's getting his own 3rd base fully saturated, fully operational. I don't know if he needed a ninja base, but sure. it's fine, I suppose. It's okay. As ByuN, he does peel off. Does head out across the map. And he's caught. He is barely caught out. We can see ByuN trying to trade as best he can. Picks up a stalker. Just the one. And here comes a breakout. Here comes the main army. ByuN, he's pushing. Behind this, he has a 3-rack setup in the main base. We do have 2 more racks on the way, so a 5-rack setup in total. He is getting a 3rd TC, so ByuN is not going all in. ByuN is expanding. Finds a proxy, does deal with it, so ByuN can soon break out. Astray claiming a 4th. So far, the game is progressing. Now, when it comes to Astraya's army, he is very gateway-centric. He has a lot of charges, so he can take a better fight out in the open. If he can fight out here out in the open, if he can catch the army unsieged, then Astraya can dominate. Behind this is working towards not Storm, but Colossus. The Bay is on the way for that Colossus production. Scan reveals still no 3rd, as far as ByuN can tell. Astraya panicking a little bit. The tanks! Yeah, the tank's getting caught out. Astray, he goes to the dive, he sees the tanks, he gets one, he gets both. Both tanks go down, massive catch. And now he can go for the kill, he can go for the throats, he can go for the main army. Oh, the mine shots were brutal though. You see the shields have been stripped of these zealots. We need reinforcements, Scan takes down the observer. But now there is 0 tanks. And there's still another observer. Another observer's in position. Straight rotating into the main. Oh, almost gets caught out. I see someone in the chat asking, is ByuN good against Protoss? ByuN, his TVP is solid. I would say Astraya's best matchup is TVP though. Sorry, PVT. So Astraya, this is his strongest matchup. I would say he's strongest against Terran more so than against other Protoss or other Zerg players. I guess we can get into it more in game 2. Here, game 1 has been very quirky just because of the openers, just because of the map itself. ByuN breaks out, he's got his ghost. Colossus have to back the hell off. Ooh. Nice snipe on the sentry. Nice snipe on the sentry. Astray, he backs off, he needs time for another Colossus. Second Colossus just now beginning, but he's going for the ghost. Yeah, there's only 3 ghosts left. Dives on the Metamax. Ooh, Stalkers are exposed. That was an ambitious dive there by Estrella. Estrella will lose the Stalkers. But the Zels, they wreak havoc, and that's going to be the final ghost going down. All 3 ghosts got sniped. So expensive losses for ByuN. Down to 1 ghost. 1 ghost remaining. Estrella, he gets away with his 4th base. Remember, this is a 4th, not a 3rd. And ByuN doesn't know that. ByuN, he doesn't realize how far behind he is economically, or I should say he doesn't know how well off Astray is economically. As he's going for we're just going for another ninja base. Okay, sure. Why not? Why not, Pappy? Why not? I don't know if this is necessary, I'll be honest. I think we just take closer bases that are much more secure, but sure. Estrella. As ByuN, he has to wait for more ghosts. Again, he still has just the 1. He's making 3 ghosts at a time. Viking production has begun as well. True. Now he's aware of the Colossus. He's aware it's not going to be Storm. So ByuN is licking his wounds. Estrella, meanwhile, will soon have to try to diversify his splash damage. Yes, he has Colossus, but once he takes his gases, bearing in mind that he hasn't taken gases yet, we can work towards a second Robo and double Colossus production, and there it is. Second Robo is on the way. This can be for double Colossus, but more importantly, it does give you access to double Disruptor production. As the Viking count gets higher, the Colossus are less effective, right? They're less useful, they fall off over time if the Viking count is too high. That's where Disruptors come into the mix. And Astray will soon need them. So ByuN does him in. Nice snipe on the Viking, gets 1. 1 Viking left. Oh, EMP lands on one of the Colossus. EMP does land. We can see Astray trying to collapse in. Does catch a couple of Marauders. They major yet. Vikings diving forward, going for the first Colossus, and they will get it. 1 Colossus goes down, there's 1 Colossus left. Astray trying to focus on those Vikings, and he will get both. Yeah, both Vikings go down, does reset. And they back off. ByuN, he has to retreat, he has 0 Vikings remaining. Again, ByuN, he was trying to make use of these speed zones to close that distance, to get on top of the Colossus, and did so for one of them, but not quite the other. So Astray, he does maintain himself. More Colossi on the way. Because the Viking count got resets, we don't have to go into Disruptors yet. There's not that much pressure on Estrella. As now we're back up to 6 Vikings. Oh. Volley goes off on the Colossus. Nice EMP on the Stalkers. Stalkers, they do focus on the Vikings. Down to 2. Down to 2 Vikings, down to 0. Cleans up all the Vikings. Colossus, they just go to town. And you can see without a high Viking, how these Colossus, they just have free reign to do so much splash damage. The laser's back. Oh, Simpson gets 1. Gets 1. That was a miscontrol from Estrella. Didn't pull back. Didn't pull back the Colossus. The Colossus is still very low. But at the same time, without Vikings, Estrella, he can bully his way forward. He can and he will. And Estrella looks like he's going to break the expansion. Out goes EMP. And base have to lift. Base does have to lift. We're back up to 4 Vikings. Estrella trying to free split. Trying to free split. Doesn't quite commit. He's going for it though. Does go for the IVPs. They let on both Colossus. Very nice. Gets 1. Gets both Colossi. No more splash damage. And it looks like we're running out of zealots. Yeah, running out of zealots. We do have to get the hell out of here. Astrea has to pull back. Prism goes down. And ByuN holds. ByuN does hold on, but at what cost? 21 SCVs. Ay, 21 workers going to be going down. ByuN's economy is crippled. Astrea, he's getting another expansion. This time it's actually close to his expansions, to his bases. Getting his 6th base up and running. There's a transfer. And now finally here come the disruptors. Disruptors are on the way. And for the most part, Astrea is in the driver's seat. ByuN, he's going to commit as he's trying to rebuild his SCVs. There he goes off. Ooh. Raising the army. At the same time, Zealot run by across the map. Gets into the mineral line. Gets 7 SCVs. Hey, pretty good. Gets 7 workers. It does force ByuN all the way back home. A lot of the Zealots are preserved, so they can always go back in. They can always go back in. They can always go for another run by. Speaking of, the Zealots are still finally being cleaned up at the natural. It's allowing Astrea to build up more Disruptors and more Colossus. I believe the Temple Archives just finished up. There it is. Storm has begun. You can see here 81 probes for Astrea, 6 bases. ByuN still licking his wounds, still trying to recover. Still trying. ByuN is taking another expansion, going for his 5th. Is spotted by the Observer. Now, what I will say is that it took a while for Astrea to rebuild his army, so ByuN, he's been able to recover himself. We do have a comparable army supply and army size. Astrea has a larger bank. That is true. He's got 2,000 minerals in the bank, which is a remax of Zealots. But ByuN can still take a fight. I think it's one Ghost. ByuN, he does spot one of the expansions. Ooh, he may not go further in. Does force a cancel. And he is checking. Whew, okay, thank God, he is checking. He will confirm. And now ByuN knows. Now I realize what's been going on, and I see him here on the sentries. That's a lot of sentries with nothing. Yeah, Colossus are exposed. We get a full surround. And Astrea, he gets completely caught out. Completely caught out here. The pants were down Astrea. He plummets in supply, losing every Disruptor, every Colossus. He got caught out in the open. And that might just be too much. I mean, sure, we remax with Zealots, as we mentioned, but only Zealots. High Templar going down. So these charge-outs, they got a lot of work to do. Again, Zealots, they do a great job of supporting an army, but the army's gone, right? The army's no longer there. And Astrea's going for the base trade. He's rushing across the map. All those Zealots, a base goes down. Astrea, he needs time to rebuild his robo units. As he's down to 1 immortal. He's down to 1 immortal. The first Colossus is on the way. Astrea was playing this out so well up until that moment. Up until that point where he got surrounded. He knew where ByuN was coming from. ByuN takes down the northern base. And unfortunately right now, Astrea, there's just no backbone to his army. It's just purely a gateway force. We see Astrea trying to catch out the main army as well, trying to catch out the drops. Yeah, pulls away. Does spot a fresh expansion. ByuN is rallying back home. He's rallying back. Trying to move in. Oh, getting caught out actually. Who catches who? EMPs on the Colossus. Oof. Decent storm. The storm is decent. Astray, he does pull away. Nice catch on the Zealots. Solid storm. The army comes in from behind. Astray trying to catch him out. Do we have another storm? Ooh, EMPs are landing. No storms. Yeah, no other storms. The EMPs were brutal. High Templar, they're being hunted down. Catching the Archon. And Astray, he burns through his bank. He burns through his bank. It's no longer something he can rely on. ByuN, he's gained that momentum and he's holding on to it. He's holding on. Building up more Ghosts, more Vikings, more Bio. Astray trying to buy some time. And it's working. He's dragging ByuN all the way back home. Buying whatever time he can. Yeah, I thought ByuN was dead. ByuN, he was on the back foot until the fight in the middle of the map, as we mentioned. Until that fight in the center. When Astray lost all of his disruptors and all the Colossus. Like, that was a pivotal moment for ByuN. And we can get into it. So now ByuN just takes down the fresh mining bases. Astray doesn't actually have that much mining right now. Astray, his worker count is high, but again, the saturation is not exactly there. Just run by. Heading for the base. Astray catching it out there. Okay. Gets 1, 2, 3 medevacs. 3 medevacs go down. ByuN, his main armor responds. EMP of the Archons. Ooh, decent storm. Astray does run through it. Another storm goes off on the ramp. Storms are zoning. There are 5 High Templar left. Okay, there should be plenty of storms. Oh, as Astray is diving in. Bold move without any High Templar here. Colossus is going to be going down to the Vikings. Yeah, Astray, where the High Templar? Wait, where are the Templar? What's are they coming? Oh, they were across the map. Yeah, they were across the map. These High Templar, we needed them with the fight. Astray didn't need them. Looks like they were left to defend the fringe bases, so the High Templar were out of position. ByuN takes the fight. Jesus, now we now we warp in the town. Jesus, oh my god, how many? 11 High Templar. Now, a lot of them are fresh, so a lot of them need time to gather that energy. They're not ready yet with their storms. As Astray, he is rotating up. The northern base is going to go down. Astray losing another expansion. Zealot mine to the middle line, or at least trying to catch reinforcements. Oh, getting on top of the Ghost. Not quite. Oh, actually, he gets 1. Gets 1, 2, gets almost all 3. Actually, does. Gets all 3. Observer gets sniped. ByuN's like, how are you finding my ghosts? How can you see them? Does find the Observer. And nice counter damage here from Astray. And as we mentioned, what's really holding Astray back is lack of expansion. He's long distance mining. He needs one of these bases up and running. Whether it's on the top side or the bottom side. Astray needs a base. So he has claimed the center expansion. Astray's main army is 3 Colossus and 9 High Templar. Say 9, down to 8, down to 7. 7 Templar left. That's a very ghost-heavy army. That's a lot of ghosts. Australia once again trying to engage, but he cannot push into this. EMPs are popping off. The storms are okay. Do we have another storm? Ah, not quite. Yeah, no other storms. ByuN, he overwhelms. He breaks on through. He's got the mass ghost. The storms, they do nothing. And with that, this is the final army of Australia going down. The most important mining base as well has fallen. Australia trying to take the northern base as well. Trying to. At this point, yeah, I was going to say we're on our last leg. GG gets called as Stray. He has no mining left. He has no more bases. GG. And ByuN will take game number 1. GG. A very intense back and forth here. Again, Australia, I want to praise his early to mid game. Like, it was definitely very solid. He definitely had his own lead, his own advantage. He had his own ninja bases, and he had his own bank as well. But he took a brutal fight in the center of the map, and he never recovered after that fight. He lost, what was it, 3 Colossus, 3 Disruptors. He lost his entire robo-based composition, all of his stalkers as well, and he was just down to 0. Down to 0, he had to rebuild from scratch, and in the end, he was shut down. He was overwhelmed, and he could never really regain that energy or recreate that energy, recreate that army, I should say. Someone in the chat did ask a question: is it normal to carry this little gas for Australia? Yes. Winding it back a little bit, to also to explain why that fight was so crucial and so devastating as well, is because it's very common in TVP in the current meta to be on a very low gas count, to mass expand, to have that mineral bank, and the idea is that when you engage, you only ever really trade out your zealots, right? You engage with your zealots, you ideally preserve your Templar, you preserve your Colossus, you preserve your gas intensive units, so you don't really need as much gas because you're being efficient with that portion of your army, and you disengage whenever you lose your zealots, and then you replenish your zealots. You back off, you reinforce, and you ideally just keep replenishing those zealots, and you can keep fighting, you can keep engaging. That's why Australia had like a 2k mineral bank, and he was okay. But because he got surrounded, and because he lost everything, as a Protoss player in this matchup, I mean, in any matchup really, to lose that core of your army, to lose the Colossus and the Disruptors as well, there's no coming back from that. Not unless you happen to have a massive mineral and gas bank, which is not normal in that kind of game state. So after losing that kind of army, never quite rebuilt. Never was able to rebuild that. He was stuck on a very low tech army as a result. The supply was lying, even though we had similar numbers when it came to the supplies. A lot of that was mineral based because of the lack of robo units that we then had. Sure, towards the end we had a bunch of high Templar, but again, Templar are very vulnerable, they're very exposed. We saw, despite having 11 Templar, they all got sniped in the end, they all went down. And GG, well played. With that, we're getting into game number 2. Getting into game 2. Game 2 is going to be on Tokamak. Getting into Tokamak. So again, Australia's army was quite fragile in a sense, and especially when it comes to being exposed or being vulnerable to a surround, to a flank. Here we go. We're now getting into game number 2, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tokamak, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Shopify Rebellion, leading the series 1-0. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Protoss player. We have the American Protoss. We have the Blue Protoss. It is Australia. Here we go. And welcome one and all to Tokamak. Tokamak is a larger map of the map pool, a lot more bases, a lot more defendable on 4 bases as well. I favor Australia coming into this game. It is easier to establish yourself on 4 bases and to get a 5th base up and running, to cut the map in half and slow the game down. It is more difficult to surround and to flank the army like we saw on Last Fantasy, which is why ByuN opens up with a proxy. This makes a lot of sense. Again, like, I favor Australia in a longer standard macro game here, so for ByuN ByuN to try to get an early lead makes the most sense on Tokamak. Double gas. Double gas opener back at home. The ranks is soon to complete, and we'll see how hard ByuN does commit. Shall see. But yes, this kind of like mass expand, mass mineral style of PvT was popularized or did begin during the COVID era of StarCraft, but really kind of came into form. Ooh, was it the last patch? Like, we would see it every now and then, but it was a little bit more stylistic. It was in the most recent patch that really kind of became more mainstream. There's a couple of reasons for that. It was the patch that introduced, of course, the NG overcharge and the rise in popularity of a storm-based mid-game as well. Previous to that, if you remember, Phoenix Colossus was the norm, was the standard. There was so much Phoenix Colossus for so many years. That was the standard. That was the go-to, opening up Stargate, going Phoenix into Colossus production. That was the case, again, 2021, 2022, 2023. And then the meta did shift away from that into these more blink-based openers, blink-based style, just to be safer, and then, of course, into faster Storm, into more heavy High Templar and Zealot compositions in the mid-game. The meta has shifted over the years. As I still remember the day when we would cast non-stop Phoenix Colossus for a tournament, just non-stop, just every game. Ay. And I remember Asher would smoge. He'd smoge at the thought. He's like, Terran can't do anything. Ay. Do you remember before the patch to the Disruptor, when it had less supply? We used to see, like, I remember Max getting up to like 12, 13 Disruptors, like in the mid to late game. Just going mass Disruptor as well. That was the transition point. For those that don't remember, there was a patch after that that did increase the supply of the Disruptors. So Disruptors have more supply than they did before, so that means you cannot mass them up like you could previously. That was also during the COVID era of StarCraft. It got to the point where when you get up to like 12 plus Disruptors, you could send out a Nova and keep sending out Novas, and by the time you would send out your 12th Nova, the first one would be reset. So essentially you'd have non-stop Novas. You'd have non-stop Purification Novas, and players like Clem and Maru were having a really hard time and were struggling quite a bit when it comes to keeping up against Mass Disruptor. They'd just be bullied. They'd just be bullied further back. The best answer to that was Mass Liberator, if you recall, going to Ghost Lib. Yes. It was the time. That was during the map pool of Gressvan, which was, again, not too long ago, like a couple of years. Ago. ByuN does poking across the map. Again, following up with double Cyclone, he does get one. Ooh, nice force field though. Trades 1-1, a better trade for Estrella. The drop does go back into the main. Behind this, ByuN, he's going for his own 2-1-1 to be 3-1-1 setup. Did open up with the initial proxy, but not too committed. Instead, going for double gas into the Cyclones, and probes are going down. They're getting 5, 6 workers of Blink is done. Ooh, Blink is complete. One more volley, and the medevac barely gets away. ByuN being greedy here gets another probe. And GG gets called. 7 probes go down at the start of the game, and Estrella, he taps out. He does tap out. Ay. ByuN claims it then and there. GG, well played. I wasn't expecting that to be game-ending damage, but 7 probes do fall. Estrella, he falls far behind in the early game. That much damage should not be happening at the beginning of the game, whether it's due to a Hellion dive and Hellion run by or Cyclone harass. Estrella does deem it worthy enough though to tap out. GG. If you remember, we were saying that here on Tokamak we were favoring Estrella in a longer macro game. If he could get there, didn't quite get there in the end. GG, well played. ByuN does break him early to not deal with that mid to late game Estrella, because again, like Estrella, he was even in the driver's seat in game 1. Like Estrella, he was in a better position. Like game 1 was a solid back and forth between the two players. Here in game 2 though, ends early. Here, game 2 does end early. And with that, ByuN does advance on to the next round, and let's catch up on the bracket. Let's go. Let us catch up. As we have some updates here. Okay, from the top we have herO. herO takes down an inexorable 2-0. Big win for herO. herO is mid-series against herO in a PvP matchup. That's going to be a short one. I'll be honest. herO versus herO, they're 2 minutes into their game, and it looks like they're being casted by Chicken Man. Okay, so if you want to tune into herO versus herO, Chicken Man is covering that series. Winner goes up against ByuN. I'm more than happy to wait for the potential herO versus ByuN series in the semis. ByuN, he's warmed up after bringing down Estrella, and we'll see if he can take down herO. As herO, he is the KSL champion. herO, he has won the most KSLs in 2025 than compared to any other player. More than Classic, more than Cure, more than Solar, more than ByuN, more than anyone. herO, he is typically the one to beat. I think herO's only lost like 2 KSLs. I think there's only 2 KSLs that he's played in that he has not won. So again, herO has a crazy win rate in these tournaments. He's typically the favorite player, so best of luck to ByuN and best of luck to herO as well. True. herO definitely can cause upsets. Scrolling down, we do have Percival. Percival gets a walkover of patches. Cure takes down Percival 2-1. Impressive there that Percival does force Cure to the ace match. Very impressive. If you remember, during the Sparkling Tuning Cup earlier this week, Percival did defeat ByuN in TVT. True. Percival, he beat ByuN 2-1. Here he takes a map off of Cure. So Percival's TVT has been improving. It has been improving. It has been getting better. But Cure is in the semis, waiting for the winner of Nina, Triple, and Classic. Triple, of course, is a Korean Protoss player. Nina, the American Protoss as well. So we have PvPs there into another PvP into Cure. So thankfully, we don't have mirror matchup semis, but can we avoid the mirror matchup in the finals, whether it's Terran versus Terran or Protoss versus Protoss? Hoping we can avoid that. Ideally, we do have a more kind of more diverse or a little bit more variety coming into the finals, but we'll see. For now, we do have a little bit of downtime. Again, the bracket this week is a little bit smaller here. It's a little bit smaller, but it's all good. The quality is there. With players like herO, like ByuN, like Classic, like Cure as well. Definitely a lot of quality, and best of luck to all the competitors, of course. As always, there's no Zerg representation, unfortunately. That's typically the case with online tournaments. Zerg players are more of a rare sight. Sometimes we get a Shin, sometimes we get a Rogue, sometimes we get a Solar. Sometimes. But regardless, again, we will be soon getting into those semis. We'll get there. Soon. Just catching up in the chat. Hola, buenas noches desde México. Ah, buenas noches, Pai, buenas noches. Aquí todavía es la tarde, las 2 de la tarde. Un cuarto para las 2. Here's the afternoon, but good evening. If a single unit is killed during recall, will it still consume Nexus energy? Yes. If you recall, and even if you recall and every unit dies, the recall energy still gets spent. You don't get a refund or anything like that. It's like the recall is still used, which is why we do emphasize, and we're like, oh, as like units are killed, and like maybe sometimes a recall is wasted, a recall is spent, but there is no refund. Yeah, this is a great micro player. He is. He's all about that control, all about that micro, for sure. One of the best in the world. But for now, we do have some downtime. Quickly checking Chicken Man's channel. Where's El Pollo Loco? Jesus. Let's have a look. Chicken Man SC. Chicken Man, he's in a herO versus herO, and they're in game 1. They're in game 1? Okay. Okay, so they're still in game 1, which means we will most likely be getting into game 2. So we're just setting up. Heroes on Twisted Minds. And here is a link in the chat as well, so you can check out game 1 between herO and herO. Heroes Off Racing. Again, not the first time we've seen herO off-race. Hero, he actually off-raced yesterday during Lily Cup, if you remember. We got to see his Terran against Hacker's top, and here hero is playing Terran against Probe as well. Hero's having fun. He's having fun. He's enjoying himself. But yes, we're going to be going on a short break. And when we come back, we will have a herO versus Probe game number 2. We'll see you then. We'll see you then after this short break. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our another quarterfinals match here of the KSL, the Korean StarCraft League, week number 79. We are jumping in mid-series and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines. We have the pink Protoss player. We have the South Korean Protoss representing among SC2 people. It is a Prome. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean, typically Protoss, but here he is off racing as Terran. Not the first time that we've seen this. He has been off racing quite a lot as of late, just for fun whenever he's up against, or whenever he's in an earlier round of a tournament. Here for Twisted Minds, it is herO. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is a Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. For some greater context, the winner of this series plays against ByuN. ByuN is patiently waiting in the semifinals for either herO or Prome. And so far, here he does take the lead. For those that maybe haven't seen herO's Terran before, he's around 6k. He's around 6k on the Korean ladder with his Terran. And he has played his Terran against Maru's Protoss. He's played it against Dark. I think he's played it against Shin as well, typically when they're having fun, when they're off racing, or in these early rounds as well. Here he does enjoy switching to Terran against Protoss, against, you know, some otherwise quote-unquote lesser tiered players. Prome is a great player, don't get me wrong, especially in StarCraft Evolution, but there's a delineation between someone like Prome and someone like Zaun, for example. A player like Zaun, or a player like Classic, or a player like Nightmare. So here he does feel like he can get away with off racing. And so far, double gas opener ranks into a factory. When it comes to herO's Terran play against Protoss, he is typically very mid-game oriented. He doesn't typically cheese too heavily in the early game. This is a more aggressive start, that is true, getting a faster factory and delaying a CC, but we don't expect to see this turn into one base all-in. Technically this could, but we expect an expansion out of herO, as he is building up those resources, building up those minerals. Here we go. As herO pokes in, pulls away, does threaten the mineral line here of Prome. Behind this Prome just going for a standard opener, going for the sentry follow-up just to scout it, just to ensure he is aware of what herO is up to. When it came to the first game, Chicken Man, he was covering that series, and herO did open up Cloak Banshee, and the Banshees did critical damage at the beginning of the game. Led into the mid-game with herO taking a lead, and we'll see if he can do that again. Prome, likewise, his eyes are out and open, looking for said Cloak Banshees. Behind this, speaking of Cloak Banshee, there's the add-on swap, so it's going to be Starport onto the Tech Lab. We can go regular Banshee, Cloak Banshee, or just a Raven-based opener. herO has options. Prome, he is here to confirm. Oh, no swap? Okay. No add-on swap. Keeps the Tech Lab off the Starport and going for a medevac first. Interesting. Likewise, going for his tank production. Medevac is on the way. But can he drop across the map? There's not much. There's a handful of Marines, so he can maybe apply a bit of pressure. There's the add-on swap. And show us what you got. As we have an empty medevac moving out across the map. That's why I was a little bit confused. There's no Hellions for a Hellion harass. There's no Widowmine drop either, because no Widowmines. No Cyclone. Just empty medevac for scouting and to ideally fake out Prome. Oh, with a Raven follow-up. No Banshee. herO's moving in. Prome is at the natural. Prome, he doesn't he doesn't really react. And herO pulls away. So a nice little fake out of herO. No major reaction though. He does get eyes on the gateway explosion on the Robo as well. This was a Robo 3-gate setup before the third, so very safe play out of Prome. Very safe. And herO's just chilling. He's just chilling back at home and building up his tanks. Building up his bio. Not so good. Medevac will check, will confirm the timing of the third base. So here he's aware that the third base is a little bit later. A little bit later. As Prime, he's still going for his gateway explosion. This isn't any kind of major aggression. He's poking out. He's going to be ideally containing the Terran player while Prime saturates his third. Saturating his third base, getting to charge, a Forge, +1, Storm. I say Forge. No Forge, which is a little bit interesting. So delayed +1 out of Prime. But heading into Storm nonetheless. Oh, good. As the High Templar goes down to the... Templar goes down to the tank. And Storm wasn't even done, by the way. So a little bit mistimed from Prime. Ay, ay, ay. herO, that's a laughing emoji. Prime, I'm sure he was like, what the hell? You're crazy, Bob. You're crazy. So, strong start for herO. Gets a High Templar. Kills the Templar. Storm now complete. Meanwhile, a very real drop goes into the main base. Stim is complete, and Marines, they pop off, forcing a recall. Raven hunting down those probes. Nice positioning here from herO. Very nice positioning. Zealots, they cannot engage. They're trying. Yeah, very efficient trades here from herO. Picks off most of the Zealots. Forced to pick up, forced to get away, but that's still going to be 11 probe kills here in favor of herO. Takes down 11 probes. herO back at home. He's building up, getting ready to move out. No third CC. No third command center. Going for the Ghost Academy all on 2 bases. herO, he's going to break out, and he has a massive army. And this move out may just end the game. How many High Templar? 4. Okay, there's 4 Templar. They're all at home. Here he does catch 1, 2 Stalkers. 2 Stalkers go down. There's a High Templar in the prism. herO, can he split? Storms are coming in. herO, he zones away. A nice pre-split here by herO. As he's trying to move out. Storm's coming in. Lands 1. Not bad. Does land a Storm. Raven harass here topside. Medevac here towards the main. Gets cleaned up. Cleaned up. Here he's pushing. Stims to chase the prism. Waits out a Storm. Oh, no, the Storm does connect. Good connection. Good connection. There's still 3 more High Templar. There's at least 3 more Storms. Oh, as herO stands in it. He is a Terran player. He's let's go. Firm trying to collapse in the army. Remember, he has 0/0 upgrades. Yeah, no upgrades. Storm's going to be coming in, but that's somebody else going down. Another good Storm. Yeah, the Storms are good enough. Firm here overwhelms. He breaks through the main army. And Permy takes the fight. Ooh, another flanking Storm. Yeah, very nice Storms here from Perm. And herO back at home. The problem here, he's all in. Where's the third? Just now finishing up here in the main base, so late third base for herO. And Prime is getting a 4th. It's getting a 4th expansion, fully saturated as well. Let's go. As Prime has momentum. And all Prime has to do here is contain. He doesn't have to push into the natural. Doesn't have to push in. He just has to contain herO on 2 bases for as long as possible. That would be enough. Things looking dire here for herO. herO's now expanding, at least trying to. Prime is in position to deny the expansion. is in position. And here he has to float away. And Chrome can take another base. He can take another expansion. We have a Robo, a double Robo, double Colossus production on the horizon. Ooh. Hero snipes one High Templar. Gets two. Two Templar go down. Is he done? Liberator into the expansion. Nice mining time. Hero going for the center base. Bold move. Oh, but can he hold on to it though? That's a lot of zealots. Nice EMP. EMP pops up. Promi should not take this fight. As Promi, he will lose everything. Does force a bit of friendly fire, but that's a lot of zealots going down. It's not what Promi was hoping for. Now the Templar falls. Templar falls. Meanwhile, the troll play getting out of hand. 12 more probes going down. And for him, he had a stronger mid game, but here's recovered. Here, he has just been having more efficient fights, picking up more Zealots, picking up more High Templar, establishing a third base. Gets another Templar. Ay, ay, ay. Speaking of, gets another. Oh my god. That's what, 3 High Templar getting sniped. Did I say 3? Getting up to 4. 4 Templar go down. Here he breaks out. There's no Templar left, not with the main army. There's the Templar on the high ground. Storms are coming in. Colossus have arrived, true. 0 Vikings. Oh. Templars rally in. EMPs are popping up. Barely any Zealots. Without Zealots, here he can take the fights. He can and he will. Pulls back from the storm and does rush forward, diving on the Colossus. His army's overstimmed though. The army's overstimmed. It's still very close. Wouldn't mind they burrow, and the Colossus, they barely go down, and it gets the entire army. Mine shots going up. Ooh, and here he has done it. He has done it. He has broken Brome. Takes down the mineral line, takes down the expansion. We do get a recall. But for him, he will lose everything. The Colossus, the High Templar, he's now just reinforcing. And Prime, he was holding his own. He was holding his own. It was impressive. But that's not good enough. I mean, hey, remember, here he sniped 4 High Templar in the center of the map. One after the other. I think there was 1 storm between them. So he got 4 High Templar. He was able to catch out a good chunk of Zealots. Just more efficient trades for Hero. Much more efficient. Oh, nice storm. Nice storm out of Prime. The second storm, a little bit lackluster. Storm does catch 2 Widow Mines. Another storm with a ByuN. And these are the 3 only High Templar, and there's no storm. Yeah, there is 0 storms left. Ay, ay, ay. 0 storms remaining. He is going to try to break out. He blinks on forward, takes the massive mine shots to the face. Does break out though. Okay. He holds. He holds on. He's on his 4-base setup. Here he has to back off, retreat back home. Speaking of, what do we have? 1 ghost. 1 ghost remaining. Oh, that was the main. Wait, what? That was the main base floating over to get a 4th. So here, his own economy is a little bit lackluster here. going to have a little bit more efficient mining. Moving on over. Does saturate his third. Or I guess now his fourth. And here, can he do that again? Can he have those efficient trades coming into a big fight? And reset the High Templar count? Or can Prime stabilize? You're catching some long distance mining workers. Here he does catch a couple. Same time here he does get one, does get two. Two High Templar go down. This is what we were speaking about. This is what we were talking about. What we're bringing up. Oh! Alright, just going up. Nice catch on the Widow Mines. Here he attempted to save them, but he will lose every single mine. A couple of shots didn't go off. Nice big here from herO once again, picks up a couple of Stalkers. Here he's closing that gap, he's catching up in supply. Purely because of these trades. Purely from the trades. Programming's up to 6 High Templar. They're all here with the main army. There's 4 in the prison, there's 2 on the ground. EMP. Oh no! Oh, the prison! Oh my god. Prison gets EMP'd. It's so close to going down. Thankfully, does unload. Ay, ay, ay. That would have been disastrous. That could have been game. Supreme denies mining on the 4th. EMP goes off. Does catch 2 High Templar. There's 4 left. Vikings are hunting for the prism. They're hunting. We got a couple of nice storms. Prism goes down. Prism goes down. Vikings are coming for a flank. They're going for the Colossus. There's 1 Colossus left. And the final Colossus is going to go down. With that herO, he can try to hold on. There's still a lot of Zealots though. But he breaks through. Yeah, he breaks through the Zealots, gets over the Archon. GG gets called though as herO is broken. And Prome, he does break through. He does overwhelm. We're going to the ace match. GG. We're going to the ace matches. Here he had no economy. He lost 17 SCVs and he was mining out of, or I mean, he had no mining in the main. He was not mining out of the natural. He had no economy. We're going to game 3. We're going to game 3. Whew. GG. GG, well played. A very close game. Very close, very clutch, very back and forth. Now the real question becomes, because the reality is, when it comes to the rule set of the tournament, I believe herO has a choice to make. He can still play Terran, or he could switch to Protoss if he wants to. Now, we've been in the same position with Estrella, like, what, 2 months ago? If you remember, Estrella, he also played Terran against Akedon in Pegasus Cup, and Estrella was down in the series, and if you remember, he made the choice to commit to Terran anyway. Estrella, he was like, look, I started off as Terran, I'm losing the series, I'll commit. And Estrella got knocked out. He got knocked out very early on in the tournament by Akedon. Again, this was not too long ago in Pegasus Cup. It was a momentous occasion for Akedon to take down Estrella. Very, very momentous. But here, herO flinches. herO, he does flinch. He's up against the wall. He's forced into the ace match, and herO, unlike Estrella, he doesn't commit to Terran. He is switching to Protoss. He is switching to Protoss. He's playing his main race instead. He gets scared off. Okay. Understandable. But here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Incorporeal. We have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the pink Protoss. It is Prone. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the other South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss. It is a herO. This time he's playing in his main race. This time he's not leaving anything to chance. He is going to be playing his hardest here to make sure that he doesn't go down early on in the tournament. He's like, okay, I've had my fun. Time to take the gloves off. Let's go. does move out with his probe scouts. And we'll see how our openers do vary here. herO, he's very diverse when it comes to his play. There we go, 2-gate opener out of herO, 2-gate opener out of Chrome. So far, mirrored builds. And from here, we're waiting for our first units of choice. Likewise, waiting to see the placement of the pylon. We can see that there's no probe out on the map, so both players will be throwing down the pylons in the main. And there it is, pylon for Chrome. Oh, sorry, Cybercore into pylon. herO likewise should be doing the same. Actually double checking, Prome, 0 probe scouts. Bold move here by Prome as he has 0 scouting information, he has no idea what's going on. For all Prome knows, herO could be proxy. So a big gamble here from Prome. As here he's just confirming what's going on. There it is, there's the second pylon. Is in the main, and herO should get eyes on that. And there it is. Does come from the pylon. Once the Cybercore finishes, then we can go into our first units of choice. Is going to be what? Double Adept. So double Adept out of herO, a very aggressive start. With double Adept, he can shade across the map. He can get into mineral lines. Two Adepts, they can one-shot workers. Meanwhile, Prome, he opens up double Sentry. Oh, that is a rare sight. Typically, we see Sentry expand. Double Sentry is very defensive. It allows you to scout, true. It allows you to force field defensively back at home, but doesn't really give you a lot of DPS output. Doesn't really give you a lot of firepower. It means that Prome won't be really too aggressive here. We'll see if he goes for additional sentries, if he goes for a robo-based opener as well. We'll keep an eye on the tech. But now both players should be looking to expand. There's the natural for herO. And likewise Prome as well. They get in. They do get in. They get one. They get 2 probes. There's Nine kind of mining. Ay. As Prome, he was not able to wall off in time, and this is brutal damage early on. 4 probe kills. Doesn't sound like a lot, but especially early on in the game, you don't really have that many workers to begin with. Prome, we need a wall. Once again, doesn't wall off, but the army's in position. herO doesn't commit this time. But now he's up to 4 adepts. Behind this, we have his tech. He's going for a robo. Adepts, oh, they commit to the shade. They get another couple of workers. Do we recall? Alright, shade's away. Does have to shade. He will lose 1 adept. 1 adept for 7 probes is well worth it for herO. And behind this, just building up into his immortals, sentry production. This can turn into a 2-base all-in with the Twilight Council and Glaive Adepts. It's a very common build that herO is very fond of. Very fun. Ooh, as here he shades away, thankfully. That does shade away. I'm still down in workers. We have the War Prism on the way. Here we're just saturating. And soon herO can move out. Does once again commit to the shade, actually. Okay. It's 1, 2, 3 probe kills. Finally, he's being cleaned up. Finally, the army goes down, but here comes the main force for herO. The Prism, the reinforcements. He's got how many gates behind this? He's got 2. So he can warp in 2 units at a time. Prome setting up a proxy as well. herO, he does scouts. It does confirm and does shut down the proxy. And here he turns around with his main army. Turns back around and just relies on the drop. It's going to be a mass sentry drop. Now, the purpose of this is to get into the mineral line. He can force field the mineral line. He can kill probes. Again, sentries for them can kill workers quite quickly. And here comes the drop. Here come the force fields. And he just locks him in. He locks in the probes. And he will kill 4, 5, 6 probe kills. 6? Up, barely 6. 7. Can he get 8? 8 probes go down for 1 sentry. Again, very well worth it. Going for this move, going for the sentry drop has become more trendy over the past couple of months. We see it every now and then from players like herO, from Classic as well, from Lunacy. And herO, now it's time for the main army. He recalls back home. Now, because of that move, that means that he doesn't really have many force fields with his main army. True, but I mean, he may not. He doesn't need it. He's got Immortals, he's got Stalkers. He has a hefty army regardless. Oh, Prom's like, go easy on me. Give me 2 minutes. It's like, nah. I got play. It's the weekend, Patty. I got places to be. True. Feels bad, man. herO rotates. He rotates, does find his way up the ramp. Does catch a sentry. Adepts shade into the mineral line, and we spoke about the 2 base glaive all in. There it is, glaives are on the way. Again, he was just very fond of this build. He's very fond of it. Force fields a ram. GG gets called as there's nothing to defend at the natural, and herO, he will claim the series 2-1, taking down Prom and advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations to herO as it does claim the series. Does advance on into those semis. Meanwhile, my condolences to Prom, but hey, Prom, he was able to force the ace match. True, did force the ace match. Did bring us to game 3. That was off of the back of herO off racing. True, but regardless, had a good showing. Congratulations here to herO, and shout out to Prom for competing, of course, as that leads us into the semi-finals. Now it looks like both semi-finals are about to begin. Actually, they're about to begin. Here we go. As we get ready for our semis, big shout out in the chat to Boomcool, God, thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing for 11 months, almost a full year, full year of support. Thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. Gracias, gracias. Boomcool, do appreciate it. As we are getting ready for our next series from the top. From the top, you can see the updates here. We have herO. herO just took down Prom 2-1. ByuN took down Estrella 2-0. We already covered that series, and now we have the upper semis. herO versus ByuN. They're about to face off in the upper semifinals. Scrolling down, we have Nina. Nina takes down Triple 2-1. Classic takes down Nina 2-0, and we have the lower semis, Classic versus Cure. That is also going to be happening at the same time. So just for those that are curious, there are some tournaments that we do hold matches and we cast one and then the other. That's what we do for Sparkling Tuna Cup. That's what we do for WTV Monday and for Little League Cup as well, typically. But for KSL, everything happens at the same time. Everything's happening at the same time. So I do have confirmation. Classic and Cure, they're just now beginning. They're just now starting game 1. Technically, game 1 is going to be on Maganatha. I could jump into Classic versus Cure, but typically we try to follow the same players and we follow them into their following matches. We already covered ByuN versus Estrella earlier, and herO versus Prom. That leads into herO versus ByuN. So we're going to be focusing on the upper semis. Chicken Man is going to be covering the lower semifinals. So Chicken Man, he has you covered with Classic versus Cure. He's got you. Otherwise, because they're happening at the same time, it looks like we are nearing the tail end of the tournament. We are going to be casting herO versus ByuN, and that's going to lead us into the grand finals. So most likely 2 series left. If our series is really fast, and if Classic versus Cure is really slow, then we might catch the tail end of Classic versus Cure, like a game 2 or an ace match. But that's a maybe. It's a solid maybe there. Bearing in mind these are best of 3s. These are best of 3s. Vitas are done. Game 1 is going to be on Tokamak. Student chat, wait, who is Prom? Prom, he is a South Korean Protoss player. If you are unfamiliar with Prom, think of players like Lunacy, think of Rebellion, think of Honmono, think of Quanta, think of 3-Point, think of Jinio as well. Think of, again, these more like quote-unquote like semi-pro, like code B tier players. Play like Korean, there's like a wave of Korean players that rose up during the COVID era of StarCraft, during like the quarantine era, and they never quite broke into like the code S. Like when I say code S, I mean like GSL. Like they never quite broke into that. They would often be in the qualifiers and they would have their own moments, but never quite broke into GSL. Unfortunately, but there's a good amount of them. There's a good amount of them there. I would say that like Percival is kind of on that level. I would say that Percival's, I think, a level above that. I'm thinking of another Terran player. Who am I thinking of? Got Quanta, Homono, Junior, Percival. Yeah. The Four Bears. True. But Prome, we've cast him plenty of times. We typically cast Prome in StarCraft Evolution. He plays a lot of SE Evo. Kind of like Ateshi. True. Like Ateshi, like Rebellion, Lunacy, Rumia. But here we go. We're getting into our next series. We're getting to our fresh semifinals, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tokamak, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss representing Shopify Rebellion. Sorry, representing Twisted Minds. It is herO. And if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we jump into our Terran versus Protoss matchup. Here we go. So we have our TVP. Both players are warmed up. And both players have their strengths, have their weaknesses. Coming into the series, I do favor herO. I do lean towards herO here. ByuN is a solo player, don't get me wrong, but ByuN, he typically thrives in longer games. And we saw him struggle a little bit against Estrella. At the same time, post-EWC, we haven't seen as much of herO. herO did take some time off. He took some time off. He used to play it every single weekly, but post-EWC, he's a little bit more sporadic when it comes to his signups. He was here last night in the Little League Cup, that is true. But again, herO, he has been taking a bit of a step back more than before, which means he plays in every other tournament. But I'm excited to see what his current form is looking like here in this matchup. Let's go. For now, double gas opener out of ByuN, going for a faster factory, going for a delayed CC, so a much more tech-heavy start out of ByuN. Welcome to Tokamak. Tokamak is one of the larger maps in the map pool. Longer rush distance by ground, much more defendable 3 and 4 base setup as well, so much more defendable map here. This is also why, if you remember, I did favor Estrella coming into Tokamak against ByuN, but ByuN was able to kill Estrella early. He was able to just snowball out of control. He was able to get some very early damage with his Cyclone Harass and shut Estrella down. And we'll see if herO can survive that early aggression. Now ByuN is scanning for proxies. Does scout on the right hand side. Back at home, we do see that CC on the high ground, so a very safe location for ByuN. Doesn't want to risk it. Doesn't want to risk anything. Does bypass the main army, heads into the main base, does get a full scout, not bad. Gets into the main, confirms the Twilight Council, confirms both gateways, so he's aware of the tech. It is not uncommon for herO to go for a Stargate opener, for example, or I was going to say a Robo opener. Robo openers are typically seen a lot more on smaller maps, but not unheard of. So at least ByuN is fully aware. Behind this, going for the add-on swap, opening up with a Banshee play. The hallucination does confirm the add-on swap, and we are rushing into not Cloak, but Hyperflight Rotors. Interesting. Okay. You have my attention. I'm curious if he plans on going into a second factory. Mech is something that has been on the rise in TVP in this matchup, and we have even seen ByuN dip his toes into Cyclone, into Mass Cyclone, into Mech. So we'll see. We'll see if he does throw down another factory. The tank leans towards maybe not. Otherwise, we'd see more Cyclones and then another factory for Mass Cyclone. Hallucination does confirm. The other option, this could just be a fake out, and he might just cancel the upgrade. As ByuN is going for a Robo on 2 bases, so a very safe play out of herO. I think I said ByuN, but very safe play out of herO, going for the Robo, going for Cloak, going for detection, I should emphasize. And that's the second Rax. Okay, second Rax. We're not dipping our toes into mech play, thankfully. ByuN is not Cure. He's not. Cure's been playing a lot of mech versus Protoss. Este Cure. Oh, hello. As herO, he's going for a very fast Templar Archives. Very fast Archives, very fast Storm on the horizon for herO. Okay. You have my attention. Meanwhile, Hyperflight Rotors is going to finish. And we'll see what ByuN can get done. As ByuN, he's invested into 2 Banshees. Only 2. A little bit surprising that he hasn't gone into like a 3rd or 4th Banshee. Just because of the investment. Bearing in mind that 2 Banshees can one-shot probes. So there's a lot of micro potential with this. ByuN moving out. You see herO slowing down the main push, picking up a couple of Marines. But ByuN is getting on top of the base. At the same time, here come the Banshees. And Banshees hit the natural, getting up to 6 probe kills. The tanks are getting within range of the Nexus, and he does pull away. So ByuN, he escapes with his army. 6 probe kills. Not bad at all. ByuN pulls away, doesn't want to lose his tanks. But without the charge upgrade finishing, I feel like he could have maybe at least picked up some units here. The pylon, the shield battery, damage could have been done. But he doesn't risk it. Doesn't risk it in the end. ByuN pulling back. Waiting for his upgrades. We have Stim, Combat Shields, getting into his own bio setup. From here, he should be getting a 3rd CC, but we'll keep an eye on him. As he might throw down 2 more Raxes. He's got a CC on the way. Wait, no, never mind. He's got 2 more Raxes on the way. Okay. Throws in 2 more Raxes. ByuN may not expand. He is delaying it at least. Upgrades are finishing up. ByuN encouraging him on the 3rd base. Storm is not yet ready. And here he's waiting for Storm at 10 more seconds. Here needs a little bit more time. And ByuN is going in. He's going in. He's going for the kill. Going for the immortals. There we go. Storm is not done. Massive storms. Oof, Storm is popping up. And herO holds. Here he does hold on. Storms the main army. Nice control. Juggles back. Whew. And again, here he saves the expansion, does lose any probes, shuts down the main army, takes down all the tanks, takes down all the bio. And remember, ByuN, this is a late CC. He just now throws it down after the push fails. Oof. Storm's popping up. ByuN, he was quite committed. He's still trading. Still trying to. This match is going up. Here he's holding his own. Now, thankfully for ByuN here, there was a period in time there where he wasn't making any probes, just because he wanted to make sure he survived. So his 3rd base saturation is delayed. But now he's getting a 4th. Meanwhile, no shot. Can herO force a cancel? Storm's edge away. Prism goes down. Yeah, no more War Prism, no more reinforcements. And ByuN holds. ByuN, he does hold on. We have more storms coming in. I spoke too soon. Another High Templar has arrived. Storm connects. Oof. Brutal storms. ByuN taking a rough fight. That's going to be 13 SCV kills. herO does back off. ByuN at least saves his expansion, but took some hefty losses. herO just building up. Getting his fourth, working towards +1. We have a second forge on the way for +2. Nice catch from ByuN. Takes down a couple of zealots. 3 more, they deny mining. Getting a handful of SCVs. ByuN is looking to stabilize. He's hoping to stabilize. He's already working towards Viking production as well. That'll help against Colossus. We know there's no Bay. There's no Bay. So here he's just heavily reliant on his Gateway army and on Storm. As more SCVs are going down. Getting another 4 SCVs. Prism coming in from behind. But ByuN wants to commit. Nice snipe. Very nice snipe. Storm in the mineral line and 9 SCV kills. Another EMP on the Immortals. Storms are zoning. Oof, doing, oh god, doing much more than zoning. Ay. The flanking storms. But was that the final storm? There's 2 Templar left, 0 Templar left, 0 storms. 0 storms remaining. Archon goes down. EMP on the Immortals. And here he needs Zealot reinforcements. He needs a buffer. He's a buffer for the army. Again, this army is so fragile. We spoke about this previously, but it's very common to have a very low gas setup here from herO. He cannot afford to lose his Immortals and the Archons. He's preserving them as best he can. Preserving his units. As unfortunately here, hero's gained map control, and with that, double expand. He's doubling, taking his 5th, taking his 6th base as well. herO mass expanding. Can he get away with it? I mean, the supplies are still very close. Still very, very close. Now going to double Robo, double Colossus production. herO, he's refining his army, building up. Now not just Storm, now soon to be Colossus as well. So herO, he's hitting his stride. ByuN, he's been able to hold his own, that is true, but ByuN is just now getting his 4th base, and we'll see what he can get done. He does have a lot of ghosts, a lot of EMPs. A lot of EMPs are available. A lot of EMPs. But for the most part, he's stuck at home. And we spoke at the beginning of this game, at the beginning of the series, and we even spoke about it during Astray versus ByuN as well. This is where Protoss can really, really get comfortable on Tokamak because the map is so large. It is difficult for ByuN to threaten bottom right and top left. These bases here, they're getting up and running. ByuN, it's difficult here to get out unscattered, unseen, and to try to slip past the main army of herO and even threaten these bases. This is why Protoss is typically favored in the longer games, specifically on Tokamak. As they're able to freely expand, freely set up. That's EMP. EMP goes up. Storms are still coming in. Yeah, here come the storms. Storms are connecting. Oh god, that's a lot of ghosts falling. Vikings, they get 1 Colossus. Wasted shots on the CC. Second Colossus goes down. And herO, he's running out of storms. He's running out of storms, but the Immortals are going ham. Stalkers are diving in. There's 2 Immortals left. Yeah, he blinks in. GG gets called. He breaks ByuN, and herO takes game number 1. Whew, GG. GG, well played. herO does take a lead in the series. Again, it's so difficult to regain map control on Tokamak. Once you lose it, typically it's gone. Typically it is gone, it is forfeit. And with that, herO, he was able to mass expand, able to afford his Colossus switch, his Colossus transition. I would have said that there was no pressure on herO. He could have just backed off. He could have backed off, maxed out, and played out a slower game. But no, herO, he went for the kill, and he was able to breakthrough. He was able to break through. He had a really nice spread with his High Templar. EMPs were popping off, but he had more reinforcing High Templar coming in, so he still had storms available, and with that, GG. herO takes a lead, and we'll see if he can close it out, or if ByuN can fight back. Now, I spoke a lot about the strength of Tokamak and how it can lead into that kind of game state that is specific to Tokamak. Here, we're loading into Last Fantasy. Here, very different. Last Fantasy, the center of the map is very open, as we did experience previously in this tournament, as we experienced in ByuN's previous series, but also a 3-player spawn map. There are definitely more avenues of attack here as well, so we'll see. Aggression is typically more favored on Last Fantasy. We'll see how our players will approach this. As spawning on the top side of Last Fantasy, we have our South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Shopify down in the series. We'll see if he can recover. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player. Oh, hello. Going for the proxy. Going for the proxy. Representing Twisted Minds, it is a herO. As we mentioned, aggression is more favored on Last Fantasy, and we are being aggressive. Okay, we have the proxy pilot in the center. Bearing in mind, this is a 3-player spawn map, so herO, he does not know where ByuN is. Is he top side or the right side instead? And we can see that herO is scouting the top side. Thankfully, ByuN isn't being too greedy. Remember, the last time we saw ByuN on this map, ByuN went CC first. Here, he is not. He's going for the racks, so he's going for something a little bit safer, something more standard, but herO will find him. herO, he will find him instantly. Gateway's on the way. Gateway is on the way. And from here he can reinforce. Now what herO wants is a Rax expand. What we're getting is double gas. So this is better for ByuN. Basically, ByuN, he had the option to stay on one gas, go Rax straight into a CC on the low ground. If that was the case, herO could chrono out a Zealot and focus down that CC and force a cancel. So thankfully, ByuN is going for a double gas opener, which means a faster factory into a delayed CC. Now that CC is still going to be vulnerable, but ByuN may go for the CC in the main base. He might go for it in the main. For now, here comes that factory. Zealot is still on the way. He's got 1, getting 2. And again, ideally here, he wants ByuN to expand on that low ground. As the Reaper moves out, herO, he's aware. Shield battery's on the way. herO, he saves, he hides the first Zealot. And there it is. There's that CC on the low ground. The Zealots are moving in, and herO, he wants to force a cancel. He will at least delay. Oof. Yeah, the Zealot has arrived. CC is delayed. It's being targeted down. Does force a cancel. Aye. A rough start for ByuN, and we're breaking through the front door. We're breaking through that front door. Reaper taking a lot of hits, a lot of damage. Boys are being pulled to repair. Widowmine's on the way, and we're still rallying. We're still just rallying across the map, everything we can. All those stalkers. Thankfully here, he's a little bit supply blocked. My shot will go up. Marines are being targeted down. Yeah, takes down both Marines. 2 stalkers are moving in. Going to the depot. Oh. Nice starter stepping. Nice catch. ByuN catching one of the stalkers. Very nice pickup. Stopping herO from snowballing. But again, herO, he already forced a cancel. He already got what he wanted. And behind this, he's macroing. He's macroing, getting his base. We have our tech of choice. Twilight Council's on the way. ByuN with a proxy depot, doing what he can. Doing what he can. Oh. as ByuN is still searching. He's still searching for his opponent. ByuN, he never confirmed. So he's moving down. We have 2 more gates. I believe that's going to be a 3-gate setup here for herO. 3-gate blink. Moves in, stalks to position, and the Reaper goes down. Reaper does fall, getting 1 probe. From here, ByuN is trying to set up. And ByuN is taking up into Cloak. There's a lot of riding on this. There's a lot of riding on Cloak Banshee. As ByuN is behind, you can see that in the economy and the worker disparity. That's because his natural base was so delayed. ByuN, he does break out, but here he's here to slow him down. As ByuN even gets supply blocked. Catching that SCV. herO going further in. Can he get the tank? If he can, it's going to be worth it. Oh my god, clutch save. Very clutch. As herO pulls away, bleeds out 2 stalkers. And it looks like it's going to be a one-way trip, but he drags the entire army back home. Gets everything back. herO moving forward. He catches the Banshee. Cloak finishes 1 second too late. A couple of seconds too late. Oh no, the tanks are exposed. Gets one of the tanks. Gets a medevac and the Cyclone. Ay, ay, ay. Happy. As ByuN, he is holding on, thankfully, barely holding on. Behind this, herO just expands. Remember, herO, he does not have to push in. He doesn't have to break ByuN. He can just expand and get further ahead. There's no need to be overly aggressive. herO just has to calm down. Just has to calm things down. Keep ByuN pinned back. Keep him pinned. Banshee catching a stalker. ByuN is rallying across. Again, the pressure is on ByuN. And the boys are being pulled. It's 2 base all in. Like, again, like, there's no macroing out of this. He's too far behind. It's all or nothing. The boys are here. And ByuN, he can still pull this off. The boys have been seen. Oh, that's a good lot to cancel. Charge is done. We have the singular Archon. But where are those zealots? Here he needs more warpins. More warpins, no 5 gateways. Here we go, zealots, they coming from behind, they're going for the tanks. Boys are being pulled. And hero's done it. Yeah, here he's done it. He's getting on top of the army. The tanks are falling one after the other. The final tank is going to go down. Banshees are targeted, and GG gets called. herO, he holds, he defends, and herO will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to herO that does claim the series, does advance on. My condolences to ByuN. Again, a very intense series. herO, he was able to gain map control, slow things down, and win in a longer game on Tokamak in game 1. In game 2, we saw herO open up with a very aggressive start with a proxy gateway and he had a really strong start. Remember, winding it back, what did herO do? He went for a proxy gateway, and he was able to cancel the natural. He canceled the natural base of ByuN. ByuN's natural was so delayed, he had to restart, rebuild it in the main base, and it had to slowly float over as well. So ByuN, he started from behind. He was down in economy, down in workers, down in bases. He's playing from behind. Likewise, in the aftermath, he was losing a lot of Marines, a lot of his units are getting picked off, which is why he had to go for the 2-base all-in, because he just taken far too much damage early. He had to commit. There was no way for him to macro out of it. GG. GG, well played with that herO. He shuts down the all-in, he's all over it, and herO will advance onto the finals. Question becomes, who will play against him? Let's find out. Let us find out as we are heading on over here. herO, you can see him in the grand finals. He's waiting for the winner of Classic and Cure. Quickly checking, that series is currently ongoing over on Chicken Man's channel, and currently Cure is up 1-0. Cure, he is up 1-0. We might actually have an ace match. Hold on. Team Liquid. Weekly setting up. But yeah, he's up 1-0 right now. Game 2 is on Tokamak. And Classic, he's... Oh, never mind. Never mind. Classic, he was committing across the map. He was looking decent, but the fight went too poorly. And oh, there it is. Hey, fun fact, if you remember, at the start of the series, when we saw ByuN go Hyperflight Rotors on Tokamak, if you remember, I floated the idea of ByuN going mech, and I actually, if you remember, I stated like, oh, Cure, he's not Cure, like Cure has been playing a lot of mech as of late. Fun fact, game 2, Cure versus Classic, it's on Tokamak, and Cure is playing mech. Cure, he's meching it up, which is to be expected. Again, we've seen a lot more mech as of late against Protoss, and it's very player specific for sure. But Cure, Gumiho, Maru's also been playing mech as well. So Cure and Maru, they've both been dabbling in the mech. In the matchup. ByuN less so. ByuN less so. He does dabble in mech against Zerg, but less so against Protoss. Less so. Otherwise, let's set that up. So currently, Cure versus Classic, they're mid-series, but honestly, it's looking dire for Classic. As he's down in economy, down in base, down in supply, against mech of all things. So it's looking a little bit bleak, but it's also Tokamak. It's a very large map, so Classic could try to drag things out, buy some time, and maybe have a comeback, of course. Oh, we just blinked into tanks there. Oh, no. Okay, we're gonna cut to a break. It's looking like it's gonna be herO versus Cure. It's like, let me just say that. We're gonna cut to a break. When we come back, we might have the ace match between Classic and Cure, or we'll have the grand finals. We'll see you soon. See you soon after the break. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Grand Finals. Los Grand Finales here of the Korean StarCraft League, the KSL week number 79. It's been an intense tournament so far. We are down to our top 2 players. We're down to our Protoss and Terran. Let's go. Let's jump into our best of 5 this morning. In the bottom left-hand corner of Tokamak, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is herO. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. He just mech'd the hell out of Classic on this very map in the other matchup in the other semifinals. He's back. He's here representing Team Liquid. It is herO. And if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we jump into our TVP Grand Finals. Here we go. Coming into this tournament, coming into this finals, coming into this matchup, I do favor herO. I do lean towards herO here just because herO, this is his tournament. He rarely ever loses in the Korean StarCraft League. But I would say that herO is going to be a very strong opponent against him. herO, for a long time, he had the best TVP in the world, and his best matchup was TVP as well. In this kind of era of StarCraft for the past like 2 years, I would say Clem has taken that role, taken that mantle away from herO, and Clem now stands as the best when it comes to TVP. But herO is not too far behind him, and again, they both do often play together, they strategize together, they practice together. That's why their TVP often looks quite similar to each other as well, and we'll see if he can take it to herO. Oh boy, not going to be easy. Not going to be easy whatsoever. Double gas to open it into a faster factory. And I should also kind of delve into what I just mentioned is herO's mech. herO, he has been playing a lot of mech versus Protoss. When I say a lot of mech, I don't mean every game. Know what I mean? It's very map dependent. Very map dependent. He's very fond of mech on Pylon, for good reason, and he's very fond of mech here on Tokamak as well. So I would say there's a higher chance that we might see mech here on Tokamak. He just played mech on Tokamak against Classic and just beat him with it as well. This is something that herO has been a little bit more fond of. Likewise, Maru as well, Gumiho, some of these other Korean Terrans, Ryung as well. ByuN has been dabbling less in it, so it's kind of on a player-by-player basis. And herO does open up Stargate. Okay, interesting. We'll discuss mech further if herO does delve into mech. If we see an additional factory. For the time being, he does open up Double Reaper, does chase down the first Zealot, and herO is opening up Stargate. Very bold move, but Stargate openers are a lot more viable on these larger maps. Stargate openers can be abused. You can punish Stargate openers on smaller maps by going for all-ins, by being hyper-aggressive, but on a map like Tokamak, there's less of a chance of your Terran opponents being aggressive and more of a chance to get away with Phoenixes with a Stargate. Did I say Phoenixes? We have an Oracle opener instead. Okay. So we have an Oracle-based opener. We'll see if this does lead into Phoenix production or if this does lead into a delayed Twilight Council. As herO is moving out, he has 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions. It's a hefty army. Does threaten the dive. So far, herO is keeping up. Really nice moves with the Shades. Very nice. Also, if it didn't trigger in the chat, my apologies. But predictions, they should have been opened already. I will double check that. Hold on. Sometimes the predictions break on me. Okay, yeah, they did open. All good, all good. All good. As from here, we are getting into Cloak Banshee. So again, double gas into a faster factory, faster starport, into Cloak Banshee. So very committed here from herO. Meanwhile, herO back at home, we spoke about the Stargate opener. Stargate is going into Phoenixes, into a Robo. This looks like Phoenix Colossus. There it is, the bay is on the way. So this is an old school build. Hey, we just spoke about this in the previous series. We were kind of going through some of the history of TVP, some of the older styles that kind of fell by the wayside that are no longer in the meta. This is one of them, going straight up Phoenix Colossus. Meanwhile, hey, there it is. There is mech. So there's a lot to get into. There's a lot to discuss. First things first, we spoke about the downfall of Phoenix Colossus, how players got more aggressive over time, all-ins became more prevalent, maps became more aggressive focus, aggressive centric, and this kind of style fell off. But we're on Tokamak. Tokamak is one of the largest maps in the map pool and a very defensive map. The most defensive map in the map pool as well, with your 3 and 4 base setup being very, very secure. So trying to rush into Phoenix Colossus is more viable on a map like Tokamak. More so than, for example, Pylon or Ultra Love or Lost Fantasy. Here, you can't get away with it. Meanwhile, we do have the relation. 4 probes go down, but the Banshee is shut down. And now Cure knows. Cure, he lost the Banshee, but now he's scouted and now he's aware of the Phoenix production. Meanwhile, back at home, he's throwing down extra factories, getting into mech. Now, when it comes to mech, likewise, this map also favors that mech style. Why does it favor it? Well, because what I just mentioned. This map is large, and also it's very secure on 4 bases. You can easily get up to 4 bases, slow the game down, and max out. And that should be the goal here. Initially, we have Battle Mech, which is a more active style, but we also need Battle Mech because of what? Because of the Phoenixes. Phoenixes are amassing as we speak. Second Banshee into the main base. There is an Oracle somewhat in position. The Banshee should not get much done. Gets 1, gets 2. Gets 2 probe kills. Nice cleanup here from herO. We are embracing that mech. This will eventually lead into a more traditional form of mech of mass tank. This will get there eventually. We have 2 Widow Mines here in the mineral line to shut down to punish Phoenixes. Cyclones are amassing. And again, seeing mech against Protoss has become more trendy and more popular over the past couple of months. It's been a couple of months now where more of the Korean Terrans and even European Terrans have embraced this. Gabe has also been playing a lot of mech. True. Gabe, he played a lot of mech at EWC, at the Esports World Cup. Gumio, who's always been playing mech, but now again, players like Cure, even Clem, I think he played like a game in his series with mech as well. And Clem has been tipping his toes. Maru, of course, as well. Has been embracing it more. And we'll see if Kira is going to be more active here. Remember, he does have his battle mech online. Macphilic Stellar Rages is done. So is Blue Flame. He is slowly establishing his third. Once he gets his third up and running, we should be seeing more of a tank-heavy composition instead. Meanwhile, the Bay is done. We should soon be seeing Colossus production, but up against Battle Mech here, ideally you do want a more Zealot Immortal heavy composition. We do have 2 Colossus so far. Stasis Trap goes off. Stasis Trap does connect. For now, Curie's still massing up more Cyclones. Massing more Cyclones. We have Archon production on the horizon as well, which is also crucial. And you can see we have a very passive game. No player has really moved out. Which it's Tokamak. Like, the map does lean towards that, so both players were just backing off, we're just securing ourselves on 4 bases. Widow Mines, sorry, Phoenixes into the main base. The Mine Shots! Mine Shots pop off. Very nice catch. Very nice trap by Cure. As Phoenixes, they recall back home. They recall back home. We have a second Stargate on the way. +1 air attack. Is herO tempted to go into Tempest production? No Fleet Beacon yet, but we'll keep an eye on it. Now, when it comes to versus mech, Protoss armies, they are typically heavily reliant on just a mass gateway composition, something that's very cheap, alongside Immortals, of course. That's typically what you want to be going for. A cheap mobile army to keep up with a cheap mobile army as well. As Cure is not stopping with Cyclones, he has not been on tank production yet. Personally, I would have thought by now we would have seen tanks just to secure the 4th, but it hasn't happened yet. Cure, he believes in the Cyclone pack. He believes. Here he attempts to dive in. He's going to get punished. There's a lot of Zealots going down. There's that Fleet Beacon. So again, this is the first sign of Tempest. That is what we were looking for. Third Stargate as well. Cyclones are moving out. Losing all those Zealots is actually quite brutal here. Kira's maxed, and here he needs those Warpins, needs those Zealots. Stasis goes off. Does disable both Colossus. That disables. Phoenixes are diving in. They dive on the Raven. Oof, Mind Shield going off. Does go for the mass lift. Does lift up all the Cyclones. Yeah, Cyclones are lifted. Hero does hold. He does defend. The Stasis Trap putting in a lot of work as well. And he does catch out the remnants of the army. He cleans up. Very nice engagement from Hero. Very efficient. What did he lose in that fight? Hero, he lost one Phoenix. He lost one Phoenix. He lost 6 Zealots. He lost an Oracle. He barely lost anything, to be honest. He barely lost anything. Just a very strong fight. And Hero, he's snowballing out of control. As you mentioned, the mass gateway composition works wonders. Phoenixes, they're holding their own as well. There's not enough Cyclones, not enough anti-air. We're down to 3 Cyclones. 3 Cyclones left. Colossus, they bleed their way into the mineral line. And Hero, he's achieving what Classic could not. Remember, Classic, he fell to this style in the semis. Here, Hero, he wins one fight. He immediately counterattacks. GG gets called. He breaks Kira's third base. And Hero takes game number 1. Whew, GG. Hero, he takes the lead in the series. You can see behind that he was getting into carrier production, not Tempest, but he was working towards Sky Toss. And again, Hero, really patient play. Likewise, he did make the decision to go into a second Stargate into Mass Phoenix, and honestly, it worked really well. He was able to lift almost every single Cyclone. Of course, the Stasis Trap did play its part. It did mean that he had less Cyclones to worry about, and then he could just clean up from there. And once again, as I mentioned before, as I was trying to emphasize, I'm surprised that Cure was so late to switch into tanks. He was very, very committed to Mass Cyclone, and it doesn't really scale as well into a longer game. We saw that he was quite dedicated. I mean, he was close to maxing out, to be fair. He was like at 180, 190 supply. But that was a brutal fight. That went heavily in favor of Hero. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're now getting into game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. Go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of torches, we have the South Green Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Twisted Minds, leading the series 1-0. It is Hero. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Green Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Kira's up 50 supply. All you have to do is just a move. I guess lack of experience with mech. Lacey might be a little bit unfamiliar with too much of Kira's games. As we were trying to emphasize before, Kira, he does play a lot of mech. He plays a lot of mech as of late, especially specifically in the TVP matchup. That's how he was able to beat Classic previously. What I should emphasize as well is that Kira, I mean, once again, he did commit really, really hard into Mass Cyclone. Typically, he does switch earlier into a more tank-heavy style, so he was much more committed. He was much more, I mean, again, committed is probably the best word to use there. And if he were just to aim move in, he would have lost that fight even harder, unfortunately. As we saw that Hero was able to catch him out with all those Phoenixes. He was very efficient with his army, able to lift, able to pick off those Cyclones. It was a really solid engage out of Hero. It was a really rough start for Kira, just because he got caught by the Stasis Trap, of course. Really rough start. And again, his army had a bit of a timer on it as well. As ideally, you do want to switch out of just pure Cyclone like that, especially if you're getting to a longer game, which he was. He was setting up for a longer game. Yeah, looks like Lacey in the chat doesn't watch a lot of Cure. As for now, we're going to be going for our expansion, and welcome one and all to Torches. I should actually bring it to the map itself. Welcome to Torches. Torches is one of the most vetoed maps in the map pool. We do have a racked expand economic opener, this time out of Cure, but the reason why this map is often vetoed is because of some of the quirks of the map itself. Here in the center, we can mine through the mineral patches. We have gold bases that we can take advantage of. Likewise, very short rush distance by air. Because of that, we actually do often see Phoenix openers. But because herO played Phoenixes in game 1, I don't expect to see that 2 games in a row. I do like Phoenixes here on Torches. It can be really useful, it can be really abusive, but seeing it multiple times in a series here, maybe you want to pull away from that. And there we go, Twilight Council opener out of herO. He does open up the center of the map, setting up for his expand. He is setting up to expand towards his opponent. We'll see how many gateways he commits into, bearing in mind that Blink is a little bit weaker on this map because there's no secure way to blink straight into the main base, just because of the terrain. Likewise, pushing into the natural as well can be quite difficult. The natural base is quite large here, and you can set up on the high ground. You have that ramp available to you as well, so we'll see how hard herO commits. Behind this does have a 2-gate, there we go, 3-gate setup. Very safe play, 3-gate Blink. 3-gate Blink Stalker, Curie's in the center of the map, hoping to catch any stray units. And here he even goes to the Robo before expanding as well. So again, just very safe play out of herO. All-ins are more common on Torches just because of the rush distance by ground. Nice cleanup here. That's going to be, what, 2-3 Marines going down? 4, Jesus. 4 Marine kills. Nice pickoffs out of herO. As Cure drops into the main. We'll delay the third. Not bad. Delays the third expansion. Behind this, we have early tank production. We have early Banshee production as well. Stim is going to be delayed in favor of tanks and Banshees. And Cure, he may even just avoid Stim entirely if he commits. Ooh, nice cleanup there. The medevac goes down. Ay. Brutal pickoff. That's a full medevac as well. Curie's in the right position. Throws down 2 more Raxes, getting into a 3-1-1 setup. eBay for +1. And here he has a choice to make. He can throw down 2 more Raxes and commit into a 2-base all-in, or he can expand. What's it going to be? Going for the add-on swap, working towards Stim. As the Banshee does move out. No cloak. Just save another Banshee. Rotates behind the Gas Geyser. Takes down the Gas Geyser, denies mining. Takes down 3 SCVs and a Depot. Very nice. Yeah, tanks are not quite in position, a little bit too far back. There's a recall back home. As the Banshee does get 4 probe kills. Meanwhile, herO, do we dive on the add-on? No, going for the mineral line. Charge is not done, but we have the slow drop, the slow zealot drop. The slow lot's in the main. Gets 3 SCVs, picks up an add-on. Unfortunately, not quite able to get this round on Stim, but does go for the reactor. Nice value nonetheless. herO doesn't lose any zealots. He picks up, he pulls away. And we were waiting for 2 more Raxes. There it is, 2 more Raxes. We have a 5 rack setup on 2 bases. Based on the losses we've had so far, Cure, he can now make the decision to commit on 2 bases, to maybe even pull the boys and go for a 2-base all-in. We'll soon find out. Snipes the Observer. Observer goes down, Stim will finish. Here, he needs to ensure he gets eyes on the move out. It's not going to be an easy hold. Cure just waiting for the upgrades to finish. Stim, +1, combat shields. He's getting there. And here he comes. Yeah, here he comes. Here comes the mass on siege. At the same time, here he does backstab. He spots the 2 extra Raxes, sees no add-ons. And again, Cure, he has to pull back. He is delayed. And herO back at home, we need as many warpins as possible. He needs as many warpins as possible. We have the first Colossus. It's all or nothing for Cure. He's 2-base all in. This push has to end the game. He needs to end it. Does supply block herO. Uh-oh. Yeah, 5 pylons being thrown down. Jesus. It's a lot of pylons. Here he can't quite engage. There's the Unsiege. Tanks to do speed up in time. herO pulls back, ideally fighting out of range of the tanks. He does want to fight out of range. Trying to lure herO out. Stalkers, they get caught. herO buying time for +1. 2 more seconds. Gets the extra warp in. And I was going for it. Yeah, he's going for it. Charge is now done, so it's +1. The tanks are going to be the first things to go down. Takes out all the tanks. And now diving on the Vikings. Ooh, the prism does fall. Let's start with the Vikings, and with that, herO, he's holding. Yeah, herO, he does hold. GG gets called. herO, he takes a 2-0 lead in this series. He shuts down the 2-base all-in. GG, well played. Again, herO, he did a great job at buying time, at confirming the all-in, at delaying the push, and of course, at even forcing the all-in as well. Like, herO had a really strong start to the game with economic damage, killing SCVs, picking up add-ons, delaying any kind of move out, and of course, he was able to confirm the all-in coming his way when he got into the natural. When he got into the natural, when he saw the Raxes, when he saw 0 add-ons on the Raxes as well, that was the tell that he needed. And the longer the game went on, the better it was for herO. And now herO is 1 game away from claiming the series. Oh boy. One more game is all that he needs. Cure, the pressure is on. As game 3 is going to be on Ley Lines. Now, Ley Lines is an interesting map. We spoke about how Tokamak, more macro-centric games are favored there, and we saw Mech on Tokamak. We spoke about Torches, how aggression and all-ins are often favored, and we saw aggression and an all-in there from Cure. Coming into Ley Lines, this is a little bit more middle of the road. This is not as macro-oriented as Tokamak, but it's also not as aggressive as Pylon or as Torches. A little bit more down the middle here, so we have a lot more versatility here. We have a lot more options available to our players. We'll see what we get into. As spawning in the bottom-hand corner of Ley Lines, we have the red Protoss player. We have the South Korean Protoss leading the series 2-0 and 1 game away from claiming the entire series and becoming this week's KSL champion. It is a herO. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the blue Terran player, the South Korean Terran, struggling here in these finals. He's down 0-2. He has to start the comeback here and now to have a chance at even forcing the ace match. It is Cure. Oh, hello. Let's go. As Cure has his racks back at home, he moves out with a very early SCV, and his goal here looks to be an eBay block, as he does avoid the main scouting path, so he avoids the probe, comes in from behind, and is set up for the block. And this is a really good way to disrupt the early game of the Protoss and to force the unnatural natural. Let's go. eBay has been thrown down, and herO, he's going for his probe scout across the map, but he will have a late reaction to this eBay, which means herO most likely is going to be forced to expand elsewhere. So a cheeky start out of Cure. Oh, you can see he's in position at the third as well, which means he will delay even further, assuming herO heads to the... Okay, herO, he goes for the center base. Bold move. Goes to the center expansion. But again, a very exposed base. Again, this is the unnatural natural from herO. With that, Cure can abuse this. Cure, he can abuse this location, or he can abuse the fact that herO is going to be split and spread between this natural and his main. That is the big advantage that Cure has. Behind this, he goes for the factory before CC. So faster factory into faster Hellion production. As Cure, he's looking for the... Oh, he's looking for the base. Cure, he's not fully aware. He does check. Checking for pylons, checking for tech, checking for just production buildings. And Cure, he believes he's being all in. Aha, misread. Yeah, misread from Cure. That's the upside of going for this base. It's very unnatural. It's not at any of the 3rd locations. It's the 4th location instead. And here he's terrified. He's terrified. He's setting up back at home. He's got his bunker. Going for extra add-ons, delaying his CC. Finally, we'll expand. Finally, we'll expand. There it is, CC on the high grounds. And herO will saturate. So there's a bit of a give and take here. Overall, I still favor Kira's position, assuming he's going Cyclone. Because he feels threatened, he's going for a Cyclone-based opener, not for Hellions. It's going to be great defensively, but less so aggressively across the map. Specifically in regards to economic damage. Lock-on is broken. Tank, oh, really early tank production. Okay. Este Cure. As here he does bully back those Marines. Again, here is just freely mining, freely expanding. Here he confirms the CC on the high ground. And here's gonna be feeling pretty good. Despite the opener, he's able to contain Cure. There's a salvage. Ooh, here has a force field. Okay. If Cure went a little bit further down, he would have been locked in. Thank God. Don't scare me like that, Bobby. Don't scare me. Aye, aye, aye. Okay, we good. From here, herO is getting to his gateway composition. We have a charge on the way behind this. Going for a charge-based opener, actually. Ooh, very nice. Now, basically, rushing to charge like this is meant to shut down a tank push. If herO goes for a 2-base early tank push, say a ByuN move out, for example, then herO can shut him down. herO will shut him down. And based on the early tank production, I'm leaning towards that. Raven behind this, not Banshee. Hallucination does confirm. No tech lab, no early stim. No tech lab on the racks, I meant to say. No early stim. Ooh, there's the on siege. Okay, Cure, he's repositioning. Cure's setup here is designed to defend against Blink Stalkers, but as we can see, no blink. There's no blink. Charge is finishing up. herO, can he catch that tank? Going for the bunker. Bunker goes down. Ooh, we have the tank push from the high ground as well. And Cure, he will hold. He will hold on, but he will lose the tank. And now he's aware of charge. Now Cure has to be hyper defensive. Has to be hyper defensive. Nice tank target firing, but ooh, does force some friendly fire. Here it does force a bit of friendly fire. Storm is now on the way. Now again, with charge being revealed, Cure should be mainly defensive here. He should be turtling up on 2 bases, slowly getting a 3rd CC, and playing out a longer game. Meanwhile, herO is teching. Here he's teching up. For a moment, I thought that was a 2nd factory, but it's playing by. You can see he's walling. You can see he's fully walling up, which is the correct thing to do. Winding it back here, I'm kind of saying what he should do without explaining necessarily. But charge-based openers, there's a plus and a downside. The downside is this. You cannot shut down Banshees, Ravens, drop play because you're lacking Blink Stalkers. What you can shut down, and what this is designed to shut down, is early game aggression. If Cure were to move out on the map, then he would be overwhelmed by Mass Zealots, and he would lose the game. He would lose the game. Likewise, what's the counter to Mass Zealot to charge-based openers? SimCity. You need to wall up, as we're seeing here. That's why he moves down the factory. That's why he sets up the eBay. That's why he's fully walling off here. We get a storm drop. It doesn't feel good to relinquish map control, but it is the correct thing to do. For sure, like as a Terran player, it does not feel good to just relinquish map control, to be stuck on 2 bases, to slowly get a 3rd base up and running. But if you try to be cavalier, you will be punished. As herO, he does take his 3rd base, getting to Storm, getting to a 4th expansion. And if you notice Cure here, he goes for the Ghost Academy, early Ghost Academy on 2 bases. He's going for extra Raxes. I don't see a third TC. Now, last game at this point, I would have assumed 2 base all in. I'm leaning towards that here as well. We should be seeing a third base soon. What I will say though is that this style from Cure that we're seeing here, 2 base Ghost, is something that we saw a lot during GSL. If you recall in that finals against herO, this is a way to try to, I mean, you're rushing to early Ghost because your opponent has early Storm. So this is the counter to early Storm, is early Ghost and early EMPs. I'm pretty sure Cure, he should be expanding with this though. We'll see. We shall see. As here he's taking up into Colossus. The Bay is on the way, the 4th base as well. He's working towards Colossus production. The big question for Cure is, does he pull the boys? Does he move out and commit with everything he has? It looks like he is, as he does on Siege. Here he comes. Okay, so far he has 4, so to be 6 Ghosts. Yeah, 6 Ghosts. Sharking around. Behind this, we should be seeing a command center here. Storm zones. Here he spots the main army. Here come the EMPs. Gets 1. 1 EMP goes off. Here's pushing towards that mineral line. Tanks are getting within range. And he will deny mining. Nice moves. Nice positioning. Denies mining. We can see herO setting up for a surround. Setting up for a flank at least. Here's going to be collapsing in. How good are the EMPs going to be? EMPs, they connect. Yeah, no storms. Oh, there's 1 flanking storm, though. 1 storm does land. Tanks, they go down. But there's no storms left. There's no storms remaining. Still very close, very clutch. Prison moves in to juggle his units. And herO barely takes the fight. He barely takes the fight. He shuts down the main army. And behind this, there's no CC. Where's the base? Where's the command center? Cure, he's all in, and he loses the main army. Oh, trying to collapse in. The Colossus has arrived. Jesus, we're just getting so much free damage here on the ByuN army. Yeah, the Colossus will dominate, and GG gets called. It was a 2 base all in. Remember, there was no expansion, there was no third base, there was no follow-up, and herO will take the series 3-0, becoming this week's KSL champion. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations here to, congratulations to herO as it does claim the series. Does become our champion. Congratulations again, Cure. Going into 2 base Ghosts like this, we did see Cure have success with this previously when it came to GSL, but what is important about this game state is that herO, he didn't just go for a standard charge into Storm, into Archons. He did take up faster in towards Immortals, and specifically in towards Colossus as well. If he was heavily reliant on purely Storm, that would have been game. That could have been game then and there against that 2 base all in, but he had the reinforcing Immortals, he had the reinforcing Colossus. herO, he wasn't stuck on purely Storm, he was taking up out of that, and with that he was able to shut down the all in, shut down the Ghosts. GG. GG, well played. Here we go. Cure left switches his minds. Oh, my apologies. My apologies. I missed that. I missed that. My apologies. But apparently here he left Twisted Minds. Let's see. But with that, GG, well played. Congratulations to herO for becoming our champion. And again, he is a very I mean, he is often our champion. He's often the one to take these KSLs, as he's won almost every single one. GG, well played. Strong showing here by herO. Again, it's one of those things where herO, he's still one of, if not the best Protoss player in the world. Classic did have a better showing, better result at EWC, but herO, he still has, he's still up there for sure. He's still up there for sure, and definitely arguments could be made, especially when it comes to a tournament like the Korean StarCraft League. So GG, well played. A shout out to herO, of course, as herO did make it to the finals, is deserving to be here, of course, as well. And herO did take down Classic to make it to those finals. So herO, he had his own strong showing. And yes, looks like it was announced 2 hours ago. Oh, it was actually mid-tournament. that's kind of crazy. I guess when herO was waiting, or maybe he scheduled the tweets. But fun fact, 2 hours ago, mid-tournament is when herO did post that he did leave Twisted Minds. So GG, again, herO, he was on Twisted Minds for his run at EWC. Before that, he was on Weibo Gaming, but looks like they have parted ways, at least currently. As we mentioned previously, when it comes to the future of EWC, it is a little bit unclear. If StarCraft does return next year, that I'm sure our players are going to be picked up once again by these teams to compete in the Esports World Cup. For now, though, herO is a free agent. As of 2 hours ago. There you go, there you go. Here we go. Here we go. herO Duckling. Let's go. But otherwise, with that, we are wrapping up. We are going to be wrapping up here for the time being. We're going to be wrapping up. And thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. When it comes to the rest of our matches here, when it comes to the rest of our schedule on the CranKy Ducklings BAM, we do have our schedule here and now. We do have the KSL, which just wrapped up this morning or this afternoon. As you can see, we're going to be casting. We're going to be back this evening with the Master Swan Open. That is at 7 p.m. KST. That is going to be at 8 p.m. AEST. That's going to be in around 4.5 hours. Ooh. 4.5 hours time, we're going to be live here with Master Swan Open. If you're curious as to what that is, if you're like, what is that tournament? We've been running it for years, is what I will say. We've been running it since like 2017, 2018. It is a monthly amateur tournament for Masters players, hence the name, Master Swan Open. So if you're out there, if you happen to be, you know, a more amateur player, a more up-and-coming player, someone that wants to play for fun, someone who wants to compete, of course, then this tournament might be for you. Of course, it is limited to players that are below 4.7k MMR, which is around Masters 2 level basically, and below. Also, bearing in mind, we are very strict when it comes to ladder games. We do require a minimum amount of career games and ladder games per season. So if you don't meet those requirements, then you will not be able to play. But if you do meet them, if you're an active player, then you can compete in our tournaments. So again, that is going to be in 4.5 hours time. Fun fact, MSO is something that we started many years ago, and because it was so long ago, we actually used to cast some pro players before they were pro. Players like Mixu were featured, players like Baby Marine as well, players like GG Machine, players who are now GM, who are now pro or semi-pro. A lot of them we casted back when they were Diamond, back when they were Masters, back in the day. So it's always a lot of fun to kind of see these diamonds in the rough, to see these players compete in our tournaments and eventually, you know, make something of themselves. I'm not saying it happens to everyone, but every now and then, a player, you know, they have that competitive drive, and they're able to take that to greater heights as well. It's always a little good fun, And if you want to see those pro players back when they were Diamond or Masters, check out YouTube from VODs from, again, back in 2018, 2019. Like, it's been a long time. But you can check out those VODs. So yeah, that's going to be later on this evening. Again, it's just a way to spread the love. It's a way to have tournaments for these up-and-coming players and allow them to compete and give them a reason to improve, to give them that drive, to help give them that drive. That is the goal, at least. That's the hope. So again, that's going to be later on tonight. I'd also remind you that, again, it is going to be more amateur players, so we are less strict when it comes to covering the event and casting the event and covering the players. Of course. Likewise, tomorrow we're going to be live with Sparkling Tuna Cup. That is our weekly open tournament. Every Sunday we have our open cup, where we feature players like Solar, like Shin, like Nightmare, ByuN as well. A lot of the Europeans, true, like Geralt, Nicaract, sometimes like a Gigi Machine, a Wayne, does young Yakov does compete. But again, that event is open to all, so you can check that out over tomorrow for Sparkling Tuna Cup. If you want to support our tournaments, you can do so via Patreon, !Patreon in the chat, and you will get a link to our channel. Un momento. There you go. Do have our Patreon page, so you can check that out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Our Patreon specifically is designed to fund our tournaments. Bam, you can see here we have STC, we have Sparkling Tuna Cup, and we have the Masters 1 Open as well. All funded via our Patreon. Those are our tournaments that we run here on a regular basis. So you can support us there if you wish. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Following us is all that we ask for. We do upload VODs on a daily basis over on YouTube. YouTube is the place to be for VOD content, so you can check it out there if you're interested. If you see something on our schedule that you want to watch, and if you cannot watch it live, then YouTube is the place to be. Next week is going to be very, very busy for us. As you can see here, this week's schedule was a little bit scarce, a little bit more irregular, just because usually we're used to casting once a day, twice a day, every single day, but we are going to be slowing things down a little bit here. Currently, I find myself with a little bit less time to cast, so this is kind of like the schedule that we would expect moving forward, is like mainly once a day or something a little bit more sporadic like this. At least one cast a day is what I'm aiming for, at least one cast a day. We're going to slow things down a little bit, but that is not the case next week, specifically because of SEL. StarCraft Evolution League is the round of 16 is this weekend. There's a lot to cast, and we're gonna have a very intense week of StarCraft. Twice a day, every single day, non-stop StarCraft action is gonna be next week. Then after that, then we'll slow things down. At least I hope to. Again, nowadays I just have a little bit less time. I have to look after our new conejitos, new bunnies. So a little bit less time. But yeah, just as a heads up. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Again, if you want to support KSL, !KSL in the chat. There is a Patreon link to the KSL. KSL is also crowdfunded by the people, for the people, and it is a bi-weekly tournament. Every fortnight, every 2 weeks, bam, you have the KSL. So we'll see you next time. The slowing down is a lie. It always is. True. But now I have motivation to slow things down. But you're not wrong, Setsuna. I always say, like, oh, it's gonna be like a leaner month. It's never lean, baby. It's never lean. But at this stage, I'm like actively turning down like casting opportunities. I'm like saying, like, you know what, it would be nice to get some rest and you know, touch some grass this day. Let's not cast, you know, 12 hours. So that's at least for the upcoming month of September. Looks to be the case. Regardless. With that, we're wrapping up, and we'll see you guys. True. We'll see you guys in 4 hours for the MSO. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Ciao, papi, ciao. See you next time.